In this video, I would like to give you a short demo or possible approach to start working on this current task, adding a Python module with a library of useful command window input functions. First, I created a new file named inputlib.py, and I simply copied and pasted the list of functions from the requirements. So in fact, let's show both of these files side by side by simply creating new vertical document group in Visual Studio. And yeah, so you can see that I just simply took the headings of every function and I pasted them into this inputlib.py. But what I did not copy was the comments explaining what each of the function does. And the reason for that is not to clutter the screen over here, but to allow you to see most of my demo code on one page. So when you write your own code for this project, and you're welcome to use this file to complete the work, I recommend that you copy and paste all of these descriptions from the requirements for each of the functions that explains what it does and what the input parameters are and what the return types are and so forth. Okay, first of all, since we already have the testing module for this library, for this set of inputs, we're already importing all of this, right? So let's just basically run this test driver program in our command window and just see what kind of results we get. Okay, I'm just going to copy the name and go to my command window and try running it. So you can see that this test script is attempting to make these calls, and here is just get string, so it basically returns anything back, right? So when I say get string and it returns back unimplemented, the script doesn't recognize that it's unimplemented, so it says it looks good. Of course, when you're working on this program, you just have to finish each function so that it does what it's supposed to do. Okay, then we call string with default, and also I pass the certain defaults over here. Everything looks good to a certain point. Get int, and my initial version of get int simply returns 0. Okay, there's no user interaction. There is no display of a prompt to the user. It just simply returns 0. But the testing script doesn't recognize that it's just a single return statement, so it says everything looks good. In case when I call get int with default and pass the default value, I simply return back the default value, which is also accepted as a completely fine situation. But then at some point on line 225, right here, the assertion finally fails to test minimum less equals maximum. Basically, it's the verification that the range of values was a valid range. So, but because the script intentionally passed an invalid range 9-1, which should be 1-9 in correct call. So it just was expecting that some sort of a runtime exception would be thrown, but it was not, and so we stopped the script. And if you see this assertion error at the end of running this test script, it means that you still have additional work to do. So I'll just select a few of these functions and I'll provide some demonstration what would be a possible implementation for some of these functions. So let's try to write some demo code inside this inputlib.py.